Good morning, everybody. This is Jailbait and Tackle Outdoors one more time, coming back to you like a bad habit. But I want to pose a question to you. I actually did a video montage with things the other day on something I witnessed. I ended up scrapping it, to be honest with you. It was just a lot of ramblings, but I want to pose a question to you today. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this. I tried zooming this in and it didn't work too well. So I'm going to show you off in the distance. I'm not sure if you can see that sign. Oh, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a sign there that says slow speed, minimal wake. I'm going to let you see that right there. And so every day, I come down here to the river to chill out and just, talk to the squirrels, have some, squirrel time, be a little squirrely, that's what I do. And, but I see people blow by that sign. Uh, from that sign going to the north, it's supposed to be minimal wake. So my question I'm posing to you is uh, something I witnessed the other day. In a recent video, I had a backdrop of what I thought was the FWC, when in fact I found out a couple days later it was actually the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Department. Their vessels and everything look very similar. So I erred in identifying them as the FWC. But in recent travels, I noticed that same vessel being transported on a trailer and another vehicle behind it with their Sea-Doos. So I recognized the drivers and what have you. So I realized it is, it's not the FWC, it's the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Department. So I apologize for that. But what I did witness is um, when you see that sign, like somebody right here, you're going to see it coming into the picture real soon. They're abiding by the laws. I'm going to try and stall a little bit. Hopefully, you see them. They're they're very polite and respectful to the water safety, water regulations. There's another fishing boat with a little bimini top approaching, and that vessel is also abiding by the regulations on the water, the safety regulations on the water, on a Friday, no less. But what I witnessed the other day was this young couple, a male and a female, were coming through, and they were going. They were not, excessive in speed by any means, and unfortunately, the trees were the obstruction for where they ultimately got stopped by the deputy on the Sea-Doo, the law enforcement Sea-Doo. So I was able to hear the interaction somewhat because I had my window down. And I was trying to get a good video. It just, unfortunately, the trees were obstructing it. Just out of curiosity. So I heard the male operator of his little vessel uh, indicate, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I thought that was a minimal wake zone." And then I heard the deputy respond that no, it is a no wake zone. So I was kind of like, I like got me thinking, got my brain thinking. Clearly, it states minimal wake. You know, you can see it right there. I don't know how well you can see it because I'm only on a small Android. But at what point, how do you determine when a minimal wake becomes like a maximum wake or whatever the next level is? How do you determine that? What is it? Just officer discretion? I will say this, and kudos to the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Department. They have engaged in conversations with people out here when I've seen, and it seems just to be like verbal, all verbal, which is good, which is good. But I guess, once again, my question is, how do you determine what a minimum wake is versus a maximum wake that could be a fine or an offense? How could a citizen of Florida or Santa Rosa County defend themselves in a situation like that? What's the guidelines? You know, do you have a ruler? How can you measure the waves or the wake? Is my question. And I present this to everyone respectfully. I love law enforcement. I just it just seemed odd to me. So I'm grateful that that young, respectful couple. The one thing I forgot to mention was the deputy was asking for his all his information, like his boat registration and things of that nature. And he, you know, he stated because he was on that type of vessel that gets wet, you know, that he did have it in his vehicle. I forget what type of I can't remember if it said truck or whatever, but that you know he could certainly you know follow him to the ramp and he could present his information. And it looks like the deputy just you know used his judgment, and that was that. So with that being said, I would like to hear an answer. Um, Once again, it's a question, you know, proposed out there respectfully. It just seems like a gray area, like that could be ambiguous in a court of law. You know, it's you know, I you know, there's someone over here fishing between myself and the sign. So I'm trying to respect them and not invade their privacy or get them on film by any means. They're trying to fish. I wish them well. Anyway, you've been listening to Jailbait and Tackle Outdoors. Pose a question, a legal question that I think is a good question that needs to be defined. So if you can help me out, let me know. Does minimal wake equal no wake, or at what point does minimal wake become maximum wake? Wake, not wait, wake. Anyway, peace out, my friends. Remember, when you're dealing with fish, wildlife, the popo, and always know your legal limits. That's why you're listening to Jailbait and Tackle Outdoors. That's right.